And welcome back. This is ballerscuba with more bonus episodes of Let's Play Final Fantasy X. This is actually bonus episode number 100, which definitely puts this at the longest set of bonus videos that I have ever done for the channel. We'll see how long that stands, but this has been an ordeal. I'm joined as always by our champions, Kamari, Tidus, Riku, Waka, Lulu, Yuna, and Auron. When we last left off, I showcased everything that I could in the game to the best of my knowledge. So, what we are going to do now is head through to the end of the game with our supercharged, super powerful party. And we will see how easy the end of the game can be after you have done everything possible in the game. And then we will go through the credits and I'll give my thoughts on the game, including all of the bonus content that I have done. So we're going to go through to the end, which does mean I am going to have to deal with something that I'm not always a big fan of, but we will get through it. I have to remember how I want to do this. Just stand still and try to find the things. There's one. No, I was late. Now I just hope for the best. Oh, this part. Never been a big fan of this part. Don't really see why. All right, I got a steel blade. I don't know how much room I have for any sort of well, weaponry, armor, anything like that. Any sort of equipment. I don't know how much room I have for that, but we're gonna do my best to get through it. We got 2 so far. I don't plan on equipping anything that I get here, but I just plan on not getting into any fights. Alright, there's 3. I'm gonna do what I can. I forgot the magic number. I think it's 10. Could be 8. Either way, I'm gonna do what I can to get all those little balls full of equipment. Why do they have equipment? Why does the camera rotate? Why did this come out of nowhere? Hey, a skill sphere! That's completely useless to me now. I have no desire to do anything in the sphere grid anymore. I'm good. I did everything that I needed to do. And so much more. Was able to get through most of it without cheating. The only couple things I ended up doing with cheating was Blitzball and overdrives. Outside of that, it was all legit. Blitzball level 99 just was gonna take me way too long. I like Blitzball, I really do. I like it more than most people. But man, doing that amount of Blitzball was just too much. It was just too much. And then with the overdrives, it just didn't feel right for me to get into a fight and then heal or whatever, however many times I needed to do it in order to actually get it. I think it was something like 200 per character on some of that stuff, so it just was not worth the effort for me. But outside of those 2 things, everything was legit, and let's face it, those 2 don't necessarily add up to all that much. In terms of overdrives, it was just getting the overdrive modes, really. It wasn't even getting the actual overdrives. I did all of those legitimately except for Seymour. But Seymour doesn't really count. He's not even in my party. This is a save where he is not with me. I hope. Ah, I didn't see it in time. And I've been ambushed. Don't you dare. I was about to say, somebody's got to have some immunities. Somebody's got something. Go ahead and Asuna her. Just to be on the safe side. Do I need to? No. But I'm going to. What's 5 MP at the end of the day? What is that? That's nothing. Yeah, did I mention that I'm kind of supercharged now? Dealing max level damage, true max damage. The fact that this game has 2 levels of max damage is weird, but it is... Ah, shit, it was over here somewhere. Alright, where's the next one? There it is. Alright, a runting! Hooray! Just what I always wanted. Oh, the magic number was 9. Alright, let's get out of here. That part, I really don't know why it exists. Are they trying to give me stuff? I just never understood it. So I felt like Tidus was necessary for this part. I know we have seen him before, but I felt like it was just something that he needed to be here for. And then I brought 2 of the lesser used characters for me, Kamari and Riku. That's the whole plan. It's not a very good plan, but that's the plan. Let's head in! How you doing, Jecht? I added some things to your Jecht shot. I get a 3rd person now. Plus it's invisible. Like, it's super overpowered. I'm better than you. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm just playing...
You're late, Auron.
Better than you. Auron's dead. You leave him alone.
I know.
Oh, he kind of looks sad.
Hey.
How you doing? I hate you.
Huh?
What was that? Let's try it again. Hi.
You got tall, but you're all bones.
You guys have like the same body shape.
Reading right, boy.
Why are they zooming in on Riku when we talked about him eating?
Yeah. But you're still bigger.
I have no comment on that one. Can we kill him now?
Well, I am Sin, you know.
Oh, he got bigger. I get it.
That's not funny.
It's not, really. You killed a lot of people, dude. You need to die. You're the literal embodiment of evil.
Then, I mean, you know.
They called you Sin. That's not a good nickname to
this.
have. Yeah, it won't take me long.
Dad,
Yeah.
I hate you.
I know.
I know.
You've always hated me. I was never that big a fan of you
what you
either.
have to do.
Slice and dice?
Yeah.
I can't hear the hymn so well anymore.
I'm not singing for you. We had the whole
Pretty
world
soon
sing it.
I'm gonna be Sin. Completely.
So is that like...
I'm glad you're here now.
Is it a metamorphosis, like a slow metamorphosis? They don't explain a lot about
One
this in
thing,
the
though.
game.
When it starts, I won't be myself anymore.
Yeah, you will, but I'll still kill you.
I won't be able to hold myself back.
I won't either.
I'm sorry.
That's enough! Let's finish this, okay?
You're right.
Let's head in. We'll see what we can do. I think I'll do fine.
Well then, let's go.
To the point that I didn't even remind myself of the strategy before getting into this fight. Nothing. I'm going in pretty cold. I remember the fight somewhat, but since the final boss in this game is not really the final boss, it's hard to think of it that way. There's so much else going on in this game that even though they build this up as the final boss fight, it just doesn't feel like it. Oh, sorry, I'm talking over like Jecht's like sacrifice. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but he's becoming more like Sin, and that's not a good thing. The volcano god is angry. Probably because I fed it some brie. Zanarkins, come back! Hooray! But now all the lights are off again. Power surge. I do have to say, I love the music. I'm not sure this is the fight that deserves it, but I love the music. No,
Promise this will be quick.
not you two.
Hit me with all you got, Dad.
Yeah, Dad. Hey, I specifically picked a team. I picked a team. Fine, we'll do it with you guys. Let's take on Braska's Final Aeon. Hey, look, phase 1 is down. Seriously, it goes just that quick. Do I need to remind you what Penance was like? Do I have to remind you about Nemesis? This guy's not even a Dark Bahamut. This guy is not even, like, on the level of the first original creation. He's not on the level of the Earth Eater. Fine, we'll talk.
I won't lose.
Nicely done. Will a basic attack do it? Not quite. Maybe it takes 2. Tidus, do the honors, please. Yeah, that's it. That's the fight. The final boss fight. That was it. It's ridiculous to me how much more powerful the super bosses in this game are compared to the actual final boss. I always hold up Final Fantasy VII as kind of the benchmark of, wow, the final boss really isn't that difficult if you've taken on the super bosses. This is so much worse than that in terms of the super bosses being so much more powerful than the final boss. But then again, the final boss wasn't even the hardest fight for me without taking on the super bosses. This was much more of an emotional fight than it was a difficult fight. And I get that that's the point, somewhat, but at the same point, make it the most difficult fight that I have to take on. It was harder to get inside Sin than it was to defeat Sin. Well, Braska's Final Aeon, at least, right? That Overdrive Sin fight was kind of ridiculous.
Cry. You're gonna cry. You always cry. See? You're crying.
We have literally never seen him cry until now.
I hate you, Dad.
Stab him again. Just like one quick one right in the neck. You can ask Riku for something
Save
short.
it for later.
The crying? Why would I save the crying?
We've got a job to do, don't we?
And now for the tougher fights? I feel like these fights are actually tougher.
That's right. You are my son, after all.
But they're also scripted. And you can't lose. They just take a while.
For the first time, I'm glad to have you as my father.
Sir Jecht.
I had considered doing a Blitz Ace to finish him off,
Yuna, there's no time.
but I felt like that was giving him too much credit. Like, this fight is ridiculously easy
Yuna, you know what to do.
once you've defeated the
Aeons.
super bosses. It's ridiculous to me. And I know I've been harping on it, but that's what I'm dealing
Call
with
them.
right now.
Call us.
Stay out of this, Bahamut. Your eyes looked like a pug for a little bit there. Just 2 random directions on the side. Down goes Jecht. I think I'm supposed to feel bad about it. This part of the game also confuses me. There's a lot about this game that I feel kind of goes unexplained. Somebody brought up the fact, why doesn't Yu Yevon possess Tidus? And I don't think there's a good answer for that, but the implication is that Yu Yevon is himself or itself summoning
Here it comes.
Tidus, so he can't like possess his own summon. That's the idea. And now we go through the Aeon list. All take place on the giant sword that doesn't make that much sense. You don't really stab with it. You don't really, like, slice with it. I don't know how to use this sword. But it's a nice sword. It looks pretty. Yuna's stronger than the rest of us. So now we go through some rather difficult fights here. We're going to go through these in order. We're going to go through all of them. We're going to start with Valifor because, well, there's a couple more that have been added because of the bonus content that I did. By doing the bonus content, I've made this part of the final boss rush, I guess you could say, a little bit more difficult, but at the end of the day, these are scripted fights. You can't lose them. You have auto life. So it's kind of weird that this is, I don't know, that this exists. And then, yeah, the sprites are very similar to the dark Aeons that we took on before, but chances are they're not going to dodge me these days. I have max accuracy and max luck. So these fights are now nothing other than a long cutscene for me. I don't care who's in my party. I don't. I just wanted to show off Tidus a bit. Yeah, I know, that was your first one. That one hurt. Like I said, I felt like doing Blitz Ace or something like that in order to finish off, technically the fight's called Braska's Final Aeon, but like I said, it gives him way too much credit. I only need to hit him twice to win. 3 times if you count phase 1 as well. It is not a difficult fight, especially compared to Penance, who had, what was it, like 20 million HP? And this guy had less than 200,000 in his final form. So less than 300,000 total, compared to millions and millions in the super boss. I literally killed him before he got a turn. And I skipped people's turns sometimes. Yeah, Auron's always going to be going first because he has first strike on him. That's just what the Celestial weapons do for me. And I do have the Celestial weapons. They turn out to be the best weapons in the game for a lot of fights. I shouldn't say in all circumstances, because that's not true. It's not in all circumstances, but against Penance, they're the only things that really work. So you could work your ass off to try to get the best weapon in the game, but against Penance, it's not going to work. So hopefully you get it before you get to that point. Ixion. Better than I always think, right? I always discount Ixion. I tend to discount the electric summons in the Final Fantasy franchise, mostly because they keep on changing them, right? Like when I think of the electric summon, I think of Rama. That's usually the one I think of, and I think he's only been in like 3 games. Like, it's kind of been a rotation for electricity. He was definitely in 7. He was definitely in 9. I want to say 6. Could have been in 4 as well, but there's definitely like a rotation lately in the electric summon, so I always kind of discount them. I always kind of just don't think of them as all that powerful. Then again, I don't think that Ifrit or Shiva are usually all that powerful. Although Shiva is quite powerful in this game, mostly because she can dodge. She gets her turn quickly. She inflicts delay. But that's really just the dark fight. Like, the normal Shiva is not that great. Useful, right? The summons in this game are arguably more useful than they have been in previous games. But ultimately, I don't like using them all that much because my party ends up being more powerful than the Aeons ever could be. The most powerful one is basically a secondary party, which is very useful, right? The Mage's Sisters are incredibly useful, but they're still not as good as my normal party should I have my normal party buffed and stuff like that. And especially since I can't control the Mage's Sisters, well, you can kind of control them, but not really. It's not something that I tend to go for. Bahamut saved me in a lot of situations, right? He dealt the death blow mostly because he was the first thing that I had that could break the damage barrier. But I don't know. I felt like going into the game, I should say, going in, I felt like the Aeons were going to be overpowered because they could replace your party. But once you get into it, I feel like it's either balanced or ends up not being that great. And I think they were most useful to me as like shields. Just, you know, put them in front of me, let them tank all the damage and die so that I don't have to, and then I can come back. And that's not the way that I wanted to use them. But that's the way that was required in a few fights. Or at least it was required for the party that I had.